sunshine. I remember what you used to say. Let yourself breathe. 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 Rain only lasts when the clouds are gray, and you're only as hurt as you let yourself be. So don't fall into sadness. Walk away from it all. Let yourself breathe. 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 Let yourself
All right, welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us, my name is Ty, store manager from Ontario, Canada, and we've been chilling with the legend himself, Brian Anderson. I want to take a second to introduce a couple of special guests, Liv and Emery. These are diehard Zumiez customers who've submitted their art last week to have a chance to be on the show today. Well, guess what? Here you are. Stoked you made it here. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So let's dive into this. Each one of you have created something special, something that you thought would make a difference and help influence others. In order to create something that special, it had to start from somewhere. So I want to ask each of you, Liv, we can start with you. How did you find your creative talent, and when did you start doing your art?
So yeah, I found my creative talent by just singing to my favorite songs ever since I was little, and then realizing that songwriting was very therapeutic. And I started writing songs around high school, and I was in choir for most of my life. So music's always been my outlet, and it's something that helps me cope with anything that's going on in my life.
Amazing. I'm not gonna lie, like I catch myself singing in the car sometimes, and it's like it's a little therapeutic when you're by yourself and you're just doing your thing. You don't have to worry about anyone judging or nothing like that. Emery, what about you?
Well, when I think of when I first started, I think of all the art classes I went to, like as a little kid with my mom. And one that I went to super often, I actually work at now, and I'm a camp counselor at their summer camp.
I'm Ryan Johnson. I'm the district manager for Zumiez in San Antonio and Austin, Texas. Man, it's been a freaking hectic year We've all gone through so much. Zumiez has been here for you all, bringing you the latest drip and helping you stand up for the things that you care about. You all stood up in a huge way. You got registered to vote. You got with your friends, you registered, and you turned out to vote. But like we've said, those things you care about, they didn't just magically disappear or get solved after the election. We all need to continue to stand up and get involved in our communities. One of those issues that is important to us at Zumiez is inclusivity and diversity. It's also important to so many of you and some of our favorite brands too. Earlier this week, I got a chance to catch up and talk to a few of our Black, Indigenous, people of color brand founders and talk to them about their experience in starting their brand, what unique challenges they faced and, as people of color, and what words of wisdom they have for all of you who want to start your own companies. We got to speak to Latosha Stone, the founder of Proper Gnar, Jordan Bentley, the founder of Hypland, and Carl Jones and TJ Walker, the founders of Cross Colors, are all coming up. We've also got the thoughts from Daniel Kadisi at Rastaclot, Carl Watson at Max Allure, and a quick preview of a film on Stevie Williams from DGK. After the stream, head to Discord, where we're going to do a live Ask Anything session with Latosha and Jordan. I'll see you on the cord.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Carl Watson, and today we're going to talk about a very important topic. We're going to talk about, what kind of challenges I may have faced as a person of color, building my brand in this industry. And I just want to share with you that my main struggles were self-inflicted, just due to generational doubt for, the power that I may possess. And so early on, I knew that being a person of color, a person of African descent within skateboarding, I was unique because there weren't many people that looked like me. And I knew that was an advantage. So in terms of starting my career in skateboarding and my own brand, I haven't had many bad things happen to me, like racially, except for me having to kind of like re-educate myself, because the education that I got in a public school in an urban setting wasn't the best. So I had to learn things the hard way on the job, and had to become more self-motivated. And my advice to other people of color that want to have a career in a unique profession is just do your research, understand what it takes to get to the top. Also know your history, because once you know your history, it can really set you up for success. And so yeah, just be confident in yourself. Understand that you're special. There are a lot more things to us than just the color of our skin. Just like we put in our Max Allure ad, there's way more to us than the color of our skin. So find those unique elements and bring them out and show the world how special you are. Peace.
Hey, I'm Ryan Johnson, and I'd like to welcome Latosha Stone, the founder of Proper Gnar, the first Black woman-owned skateboarding company. Latosha, we're stoked to have you here and get a chance to talk with you today as part of this event.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. So how are you? How's things going out there in Proper Gnar world?
I'm good. Stressed and busy, but good for the most part. Proper Gnar is kind of blown up the last 6 months here or so. So blessed and just dealing with all that.
Yeah, it's been a great year, huh? 2020 was a great year for you, for your business. I can only imagine the stress of dealing with a pandemic and your business blowing up like it has. So, how did you get started into the skateboarding world? When did you start skating? what were some of the things that got you into that
So
industry?
I started skating when I was in middle school. I had like the Tony Hawk games. I got an N64 for my birthday one year. And yeah, so I started playing that. And then like I would always see the neighbor kids outside doing it. And finally I just went out there and like joined them. And it was like kind of history from there.
Yeah, that's crazy. I read somewhere that you actually were one of the few Black girls that were skateboarding in your community. And so how did that kind of inspire you to continue and challenge yourself to get kind of that recognition in the skateboarding world?
Yeah, definitely was one of the few Black girls. Like I live in Dayton now, but I grew up in Greenville, which is like 40 minutes from Dayton, and it's like all white community. Like pretty much my family was like the only Black family there. But yeah, I guess I just kind of used that to push me to do better. Like, I've definitely got comments about, Black girls don't skate, or even just girls in general don't skate, or, Black people don't do that. And, instead of letting that get to me, I just kind of use that as like motivation to just get better and keep going.
That's awesome. Yeah. Don't let them stop you. Yeah. So also read that Black women are actually the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the U.S. And Proper Gnar is the first Black owned women's skateboard company. What inspired you to start the company?
Well, I love art and I love skateboarding. So it was kind of just me putting all the things that like were my main interests into like one thing. And then also I love cute stuff, and I wasn't really seeing stuff that like appealed to me in the skateboarding industry. Like I wanted to wear stuff that was like my style, and I wanted to ride on boards that was like my style. So I wanted to do something to change that. And then also, like, I don't feel like there was really any representation for not just women in skateboarding, but like Black women also in skateboarding. So I just kind of wanted to help women like me, kind of see themselves in skate products, and also just kind of see that like, oh, there are Black girls that do it. Maybe I should start doing it too. So.
Yeah, that's great. The representation is important, right? And not just for women, but Black women. I don't think that it's something that's uncommon. You just rarely see it in the public, right? So that's great.
Definitely.
And how does that mission, has that had an impact? Have you seen more women of color or young girls getting into skateboarding because of that?
Yes, definitely a lot here in the past year. I've had so many girls reach out to me and like come in my DMs and like send me their videos and pictures and stuff, and be so stoked that they found Proper Gnar, because now they see that example, and it's like something they can relate to. So yeah, I've definitely seen more personally reaching out to me. And then I've also noticed like on some of the teams they have started adding Black women to their professional team, so that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny. My daughter is 13. She'll be 14 here soon, and
Mm-hmm.
she reached out to me during the pandemic. We live in different parts of the city, and she said, "Daddy, do you have Proper Gnar at Zumiez?" And I said, I think so, and so she's been skateboarding since last year. She has a penny board, and now she has an actual skateboard, but I didn't
Awesome.
know anything about the company, so it's kind of crazy that we're sitting here today and she's the one that introduced me to you, or to your company. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I started out on a penny board too, and before I went to a regular skateboard.
Oh, that's crazy. That's pretty cool. Yeah, she'll like that. I'll tell her tonight. So as a person of color and a woman, do you feel like there's challenges or obstacles that are unique to those that identify that way, and that you faced starting the company?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of discrimination. I feel like you got to face sexism. I feel like you really have to prove yourself when you're a woman and a Black woman. Like, you know, I feel like even now, like I've had this company for years, but I still get like so many people that like don't think I skate, or like I'll post videos of like women skating, and then just like the comments underneath sometime are just like so horrible from people. And yeah, also like just like on the business side of things, I feel like it was hard for me to get like funding and stuff like that, and just like breaking into the industry as well. Like I feel like skateboarding is a pretty like male dominated sport, and like a lot of the other skateboarding companies, like they're connected to like a professional skateboarder, or like they're friends with like somebody else that like already owns a company, so they kind of know what to do, or like they have those connections to like go ahead and like succeed in that. And I didn't really like have any of that. I just kind of had to like navigate and kind of find my own way.
Yeah. And, finding those resources can be difficult and challenging. How did you persevere to find the information you needed to really get your company off the ground?
Just like a lot of research. I'm in a lot of business groups. So just kind of taking advice from stuff that I find online. It's just like never really like giving up. Like, I feel like skaters and artists, they kind of have this thing inside them where it's like, I'm gonna do this whether or not I'm like successful or not, just because it's like in your heart. So I feel like even if Proper Gnar hadn't like succeeded in the way that it has, like I would still keep doing it anyways, just because it's like my passion.
Yeah. It's that resiliency to get back up and keep going, right? No, that's
Mhm.
awesome. And, in skateboarding, you're inspired by people all the time, right? Like whether it's a trick that you see or just, there's a lot of people that inspired me. I've been reading Clyde Singleton's post all week or all
Yeah.
month about Black history, and how all these people that inspired him in skateboarding.
Mhm.
And it's crazy to see how many Black individuals are in the skateboarding industry that you may not have known or may have forgotten about. But who inspired you in skateboarding? Well, in skateboarding and in business, who's inspired you?
Wow, that's a lot. I really like Clyde's post, and then Tony Herndon, I think that's how you say it. He owns Hard Time Skate Shop in Virginia. He did a lot of really good Black History Month posts on skateboarding too, and I learned like so much that I didn't have any idea about. But let's see, who inspires me? Adrienne Slobo, she is like so good. Yeah, I love watching her videos. Brianna King, she inspires me a lot. Stevie Williams, who was like the first Black person I ever saw skateboarding. And then also in general, just like my grandpa, he really inspires me to keep going. And then like my family is full of like strong, independent women. So just kind of having them as like my inspiration and like cheering me on and stuff. So yeah, I guess I kind of get inspiration from all kinds of different people.
And here's a question that's kind of off the cuff, but being in Dayton, there's I know Alien Workshop was based out of there, and there's Rob Dyrdek has the plaza somewhere there in Dayton, in Kettering.
Yeah.
Have you used any of them as a resource, or has there been any connection there at all?
I haven't. I have actually DM'd him, but I haven't heard anything back. So no, but I'm at Skate Plaza all the time. I did an event there back in September with Black Girls Skate. They went on like a tour all over America. So we did an event there. And we did a big giveaway, and we had like skateboarders and roller skaters come out. So it was really fun to be able to like use that as a gathering place. But I haven't really like used them as a resource or anything. But it would be awesome if I could. Maybe one day they'll read that and like reach back out to me.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And you've had not only has it been a crazy year with just the brand jumping off, you've had some success with your boards appearing in HBO special, or the series Betty.
Mm-hmm.
How's that been? And seeing other celebrities kind of rocking your brand.
It's like super crazy. I don't know if you watch Netflix. There's a show called Bridgerton, and I just had to assemble a board for the guy that was like the main character on that show, and I was like freaking out the whole time I was like putting it together. But it's like super surreal, because like when you make stuff, like you don't ever think about that part. You're just making it because like you thought it looked cool, or you just felt like making art that day. I never would have guessed that it would have ended up that way, but it's super cool. It's a crazy feeling for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy. And Bridgerton, that's the like Cinderella kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. So do you see, now that you have made this huge step into skateboarding, do you see skateboarding becoming more inclusive, like with more women of color, more, just Black people in general having this inclusivity with skateboarding?
I do see like some changes being made, but I feel like there's definitely like some ways to go. But I'm super stoked for like this next generation, because I see just the change that's made here in the last like year or so, and I feel like as time goes on, things will definitely be improving. I feel like a lot of these companies, though, they need to like stop the performative activism. Like I noticed a lot of companies like back in the summer when like all the protests and stuff were going on, they did like the Black Square, and they made like a little post about, Black Lives Matter and all that. And then like they didn't really do much after that. And like come Black History Month, I feel like a lot of the Black companies were posting stuff, but I didn't really see any of the like bigger companies posting anything. So I feel like if they're gonna try and make changes, they need to be like consistent with it. And then also, adding more women, more people of color to their teams, and like paying them what they're worth. Because I know like so many skaters, they get like flow and stuff like that, but they're like not actually like paid for it. So it's come a long way, but definitely needs some work.
Yeah, still a lot of growth to happen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice do you have for anyone in the audience who may be thinking about following in your footsteps and starting their own company? What advice would you give them?
I'd say go for it. Just do a lot of research. Find out like what makes your company different than like the next company, and like focus on that, because so many people start businesses and I think they can just like set up a website and like throw some product on there and it's gonna sell. Like that's not what happens at all. Like you gotta like set yourself apart and really put some work into it. And I'd say if you can afford to, hire other people to help you, because if you try and do everything yourself, you're gonna get like burnt out and like give up. And don't expect to get rich fast, because that's not how it works either.
Yeah, it takes time, right?
Definitely.
So, you said one of the things that one piece of advice that you would give is to hire people if you can, and as a business owner, you juggle a lot of hats and you probably do a lot of things on your own. So what are some things that you do, especially during the last year, to kind of take care of yourself and have that self-care as a priority?
I kind of set business hours like I would if I had like a physical store. Like okay, it's 5 p.m. Don't reply to emails anymore. Like, don't get on social media, because like when you own a business, it's super hard to just like make that your entire life and just be online like all the time. So yeah, I try and set business hours. And I guess just like self-care in general. Like, I love going to the chiropractor. And then I recently started going to like the float tank, which is where you just like get in the water and you just like lay there and relax for like an hour. And that's like super nice. And like meditating is cool too. Just, sitting and relaxing and just kind of like starting anew.
The float tank, that makes me think of 11 from Stranger Things. Is that what is the float tank?
I could see it's just like this room, and it's like completely dark once you shut the door, and it's like a foot of water, and you just like lay on your back, and yeah, they play like calming music sometimes, and you just like relax.
All right. I'm gonna have to try that so I can get my Stranger Things moment on.
Yes.
So what's coming up next for Proper Gnar? What are some things you have in the works? Any new designs dropping?
Yeah, definitely some new designs, working on stuff for like summer and fall. And then I'm working on getting like longboards and cruisers out too, because I have like so many people every single day like, when are you gonna make longboards? So trying to get some of those out as well. And yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. And I know there's been a big disruption with getting wood. Have you seen that as well?
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, and that happened to me like right at the beginning, like last summer when my company went viral. That was like the same time like the wood shortage hit me. And it was crazy because I had people that were waiting. Some people had to wait like 6 months to get, or not 6 months, 6 weeks to get their order. And it was like so stressful. Like, luckily, once I explained like what was going on, like most people were cool about it. But yeah, it's getting a little bit better now. It's only taken me like a couple months to get things in, but I'm definitely having to put my orders in like way ahead now. Because before I would, put an order in and it was like at my doorstep in like 3 weeks. So yeah, I've definitely had to make some changes to handle all that.
Awesome. Well, Latosha, thanks again so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, especially someone from my home state and living in my hometown. That's awesome to meet you. Thanks for telling us your story. If you guys have any questions for Latosha, hang out. We're going to do a Zumiez Discord after this where you can ask anything along with some other guests. So we'll be right back. And again, Latosha, thank you for joining us.
So what's up, everybody? My name is Daniel Cassidi, founder and CEO of Rostaclot. First of all, I hope you guys are clouded up, seeking the positive out there and staying fresh and fly. I know that you guys are. There's a couple questions that were posed to me by the Zumiez team that I wanted to just do my part and share my knowledge. And one of the questions was, what challenges have you faced as a person of color in your career or building your brand, and how did you deal with those? So the challenges that I've faced in my pursuit of my career and bringing things to life, one of them is just being able to access mentorship, the ability to access funding, and the ability to access knowledge. So for many people of color, you don't have that generational wealth, that generational knowledge, and people around you that you can really look to for inspiration outside of very few areas, right? And very few occupations. So those are the challenges that I faced as a young and up and coming entrepreneur. The next question that was asked for me is, what advice do you give other young people of color who want to follow in your footsteps? Man, and I'm going to touch on my advice is going to be based on those three things. I think number one is mentorship. Find and surround yourself with people that have done what you want to do. We all have the access of the internet. We can find out who our mentors are, who are the people that we look up to, who are the people that have the lifestyle that we want to achieve. Make sure you follow them and reach out to them. And it's about giving more than taking. So offering, to be an intern, offering to do a project for them, whatever that case may be. Make sure that you get out there and find some mentors. And then utilize all your tools. We talk about learning and having access, in this day and age with the internet and what we have and the resources that we have. Utilize webinars, podcasts, books, YouTube to learn whatever that you need to learn from. The knowledge is out there if you really want to seek it out. And last thing that I would say is, if you guys are looking to get funding for your business and your ventures, there are venture capitalists and different financial resources in different places that are looking for African Americans, Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans to help bring your vision to life. So make sure that you research them and go out there and make your dream come true. And my last biggest piece of advice is, when you make it, pay it forward. Help another person out that was just like the younger version of you with the same challenges. So again, seek the positive. I hope you guys are having a great life. Make it a great life, and live a life that you don't need a vacation from. Okay? Peace and love. Signing out. Daniel Cassidy, Rostoclot. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Well, I'd like to welcome Jordan Bentley, the founder of Hypland. Jordan, we're stoked to have you here today. Let's give you a chance to kind of talk about what's going on with the brand and get to know you a little bit better. So thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me, man. I'm so excited. I'm always happy to participate in anything Zumiez is doing, man. I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how are you? How is the brand? 2020 has been a crazy year, or 2020 was a crazy year. We're in 2021 now, but how'd the last year treat you guys?
I personally am great. I'd say my business has also been great too. I feel like, quarantine was one of those like blessings in disguise. I feel like that this year, or 2020 moreover, was a great opportunity for us to kind of like self-reflect and like grow our business from a different perspective. So, Hypland has been amazing. I feel like I've been taking a lot of this time to kind of self-reflect and just look at internally what works best for our business. You spend a lot of time by yourself. It's like kind of like force you to look at yourself inside, like, yo, man, I need to fix this, or I need to do that. So it's been dope.
That's cool, man. That's cool. And you've grown the business a lot in the last year as well. So, but I actually heard that you got the idea for Hypland in the 8th grade. So how old were you when you started that? What was the spark for the brand?
So I started Hypland when I was 13 years old. I think 8th grade. It was like the end of 8th grade, going into like high school. But what started this, I can't really say there was one specific moment that started the spark. I know growing up in LA, I was able to watch like brands like Diamond, The Hundreds, Supreme. I was like around that Fairfax scene with a lot of my friends. So naturally, I took interest in, just clothing. And I figured, since I like this stuff so much, why not try and make it myself? It wasn't really like, I didn't really set out in the beginning to start out and say like, hey, man, I want to be the next Supreme. I want to start this business. It was more just like I was hustling, I was selling stuff, and I like clothes. So like, why not create something myself also too? It's more so like self-expression. I loved art. So it's like just another form of like, oh, man, let me put my art out there another kind of way.
That's dope. And so just a quick kind of build off of that. So most of the art is yours. Is that still that way? Or do you have a team that kind of helps you build the design?
I have a team of 2 freelancers that I work with, but most of the art, like cut and sew design stuff, it comes from me. I spend so much time just kind of like working on just graphics every day. So a lot of it, whether it be like specific design or creative direction, is all kind of coming out of my head more so than anything else.
That's dope. I remember seeing you at, I believe it was 100K in 2019, right?
19, yep.
Yeah, and you talked about your mom was a big part of the project as well and kind of supported you through. So that's pretty amazing. So speak about your mom a little bit and what her role was.
My mom is actually sitting right here behind me like, yo, can I listen? So I'm sitting here, a lot of pressure on me. But no, my mom has definitely been like the foundation or like the main support system as it relates to starting the business. My mom has been like the most fashionable person, obviously kind of got me into the clothing. And then, throughout like just the course of like the brand, she quit her job when I was in college trying to run the business just to support the business. Has been just like this sounding board for me this entire time. We work together. So it's like I feel like that's like the easiest way to describe it. My mom is like my backbone. I feel like when we describe the business, it's always like I am the outside of the car, and my mom is the engine that keeps the things running. And it's like, without my mom, I wouldn't even be, you know, where I am today. And she's looking at me grinning right now because I said that, like, yeah.
That's great. That's great. You gotta have mom's support always. So I know that should be an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
So can you talk to us about what the brand's mission is? Like, what's your mission with this project?
I'd say, you know, I feel like for me that has always been like not a tough question now, but in the beginning and more so, I really didn't have like a mission. It was more so a matter of self-expression. Now that we've gotten into this like anime Japanese world, I'm trying to be that bridge that connects this like urban youth street culture with the culture of anime, because really the two cultures like by themselves don't really coexist at all. So I want Hypland to be that sounding board that mixes like the media and like influence and urban, just like all the things that kind of go into that culture with streetwear and like that realm. So really mixing the two realms has been like a big thing. You know, it was like, I don't know, when I felt like when I started the brand, it wasn't really like a directional thing. It was more so just like a passion project. And now it's become this like, all right, this intersection of like two worlds and just trying to be like intercultural, really.
Okay, that's great. And so, you know, to kind of build off of that, as a person of color, you know, do you feel there's been any challenges or obstacles that have been kind of unique to your situation?
You know, I feel like this is also a little bit of a difficult question for me also too, because I feel like I personally don't walk around the world and look at things from like a lens of color, as cliche as that sounds. So a lot of the difficulties or the things that I have experienced are not so much direct to my business, but more so as examples. So I'd say like a big thing that was tough for me at first was like, I wasn't able to see like brands from Black business owners, or like there wasn't very many examples of people in my space. So for me, at first it was like hard. Whereas I have like family and people that are around me that are like mega successful in different ways, there weren't a lot of people that were doing the same thing as me that I could like springboard ideas off of or like piggyback off of and say like, yo, I want to be like this person. And then also too, like I would say now more so, I think the biggest thing that's been like difficult for me is this like constant criticism of like Black businesses. I feel like we're held to this like, I won't say unrealistic, but this super microscopic lens where everything we do is like criticized, and we're I don't even, it's like really hard to explain, but it's like we're like, it's like all these different microaggressions that like look at Black businesses from this like lens of where you can't make any mistakes. So I feel like for me, it's been more of like an indirect experience rather than like, hey, you're not going to get this opportunity because you're Black. It's more so like this like subconscious pressure that I need to be better than everyone else just to at least like get into the same room as like my other counterparts. You know what I mean? You know, it's like it's almost like an implicit bias, if that means anything or makes any sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I get it. It's hard when you want to be in that space, but the challenges may not be directly aimed at you, but you can feel it, and it's I like how you, yeah. I like how you said it. It's like you worked twice as hard to be in the same room as someone, and have the lens is just greater. It's amplified on you, right? So, so with that, you know, as a business owner, there's always challenges, and you know, there's always these microaggressions that may pop up. How do you persevere? What keeps you going? What keeps you motivated?
Well, for me, I have goals for myself. So I think like my personal work ethic kind of allows me to steer behind that. I feel like naturally I'm like a hard worker. So I don't, even though I have these criticisms or like these things where I'm being criticized, like, and I have to work 10 times as hard, I'm fine with doing that because that's something that I do already. And then I know also too, like, because I believe in the vision that I have for my brand, specifically with this connection of the two worlds, I know that somebody out there is going to understand my message and will give me the platform to begin to show what I'm capable of. It's like, specifically for my brand, Viz Media, with a lot of our anime partnerships, has been like that company that's kind of like taken the leap of faith for us and has given like us a platform to say like, yo, we want you to do X, Y, and Z when we believe in your vision. And I feel like once you find, or at least for me, like once I finally got that, like that sounding board of people that like understood my vision, it's been like motivating beyond the criticisms. And then really too, like I like the criticism. I'm like super competitive. So like, I feel like my work will speak for itself, and it's not something that like, it's like for me, I don't focus on the negative also too. So it's not like, I'm not sitting here like, ah, man, like I got these criticisms, I don't want to be great. It's like, I want to be great myself anyway. And I know because I do good stuff and I believe in myself that I'll be fine regardless of like the criticisms, if that makes any sense. Like, I think a lot of it for me is like my personal confidence and like work ethic. I know that if I do something nice, that it'll be perceived as nice, and then it'll go in the way that it's supposed to, regardless if it takes like 10 days or a year. You know what I mean? It's like the slow and steady wins the race for me. I'm like, throw me all the criticisms. It'll make me better and be at the end of the day,
You sound like me. Like if you tell me I can't do it, I'm gonna prove you wrong and show you that I can do it, right?
Exactly. That's like my haters, my motivators. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome. Yeah. So I know your mom is a big part of it, and she inspires you, obviously. But are there any other people or anything in general that inspires you, or that has inspired you to create this business?
To create the business, I'd say no. But day to day running the business, I'd say my biggest influence would probably be my mentor, Ryan O'Connor. He's the owner of Rip and Dip. I mean, he like was the first dude to give me an internship when I was 14. I remember blowing his email up every single day, like, give me an internship, give me an internship, give me an internship. So I feel like, I've been knowing him for like the last 2 years. I'm 24 now, and it's like, it's like crazy. Yeah, it's been it's been 10 years. Yeah, it's been crazy. But he's been like a really big influence for me, like has really steered me in tons of different directions, and even indirectly looking at his business and how he runs his stuff and just how free flowing and creative he is, despite different criticisms or the way in which he moves with his business. I feel like I really resonate with a lot of things that he's gone through. And because, he's been such a good friend to me and a mentor, I've been like, he's like my main motivation. I'd say Ryan for sure. My mom and Ryan, my big two,
What advice do you have for anyone that's trying to do what you're doing, like in the audience that might want to start their own business or follow in your footsteps and be in that creative space?
I say get out there and do it, man. I feel like for me, I have such a unique story, or like a unique beginning, in the fact that I wasn't really trying to start a business. And I feel like if you're truly passionate about something, you just kind of got to go out and do it, man. I feel like there's this saying where they're like, if you're going to swim, don't put your toe in the water, just jump right in. And sink or swim, for me, I just kind of jumped right in. It wasn't like I was trying to be the next Supreme in the beginning. And I feel like if you truly love something, or you're truly passionate about something, you'll figure out a way to make it work. And even if one business fails, the next thing you start will be from experience. It won't be from like a place of not knowing. The faster you get out there and just start, the more you'll learn, and the faster you'll be able to kind of get towards your goals. Everybody fails. It's like, that's part of life. You know what I mean? Just get out there and get it going. Just don't think too much about it, man. Just do it,
Just do it. Yeah. So I heard you have a documentary that you're about to film with HBO. Is that right?
It's not a documentary, it's a reality show, but it's kind of like I don't know. It's not a documentary. What they're doing is like they're following a bunch of my friends and I, and just like the amazing things that we're doing in like Los Angeles. So part of that is like following my business and things that we're doing. So it's not a documentary, but it's more so like kind of like my journey as I navigate, or at least as I have been navigating over these last couple of months, and like showing like the back end of my business, how I work with my mom, and like that kind of stuff.
Okay. So kind of like a day in the life of series, like a mini series kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. So yeah. And being a business owner, you got so many things on your plate with that, all of the creative stuff that you're doing. How do you find time for self-care, like taking time for yourself?
I feel like for me, a big thing is really like this balance. I say all the time that my business is not something that I look at as like a business or work. I truly love what I'm doing, so I don't mind spending a lot of time on it. But for me, I spend a ton of time like working on my own self. Like, I'm lucky that I have a bunch of friends that are not in the clothing space. So, whenever I like split time away from my brand, and spend time with my friends, or spend a lot of my time working out, I'm able to like fully detach and like take those refresher breaks that I need to remain like creative in my space. You know what I mean? I feel like for me, like just balancing like working between like hanging out with friends and like my own personal self-care, like whether it be like working out and boxing or spend time with my brother and playing basketball, has been this like huge thing. And for me, like, I guess like being able to do that or being able to balance that with people who have no interest in the clothing space at all has been like super advantageous. Even hanging out with like Ryan from Rip and Dip, like we never, of course we talk about the mentorship sometimes, but like we never talk about business. It's like we'll throw parties together before COVID, or like, he'll get a new car and we'll go out and like drive around and like, just do things for shits and giggles. Not so much like everything about being about business. It's always like that balance. That's that, just being able to like separate has been like this like just mental blessing that keeps everybody creative.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you got to have balance and try to find those moments where you can get those workouts in. And I spoke to Latosha Stone, and she told me about floating, or I think that's what it's called. But I was like, okay, I need to try this. So
Sounds crazy.
Yeah. So what's next? What's coming up next? You got the document or the series. You got the anime popping right now. What's next for Hypland?
Well, this year, to be like very candid, I have like 17 collabs dropping this year, or 17 projects that we're working on. I've been really focused on building our team, so I'm really excited about that. I think as we grow, building the right team of motivated people is gonna be like the thing that kind of take us to the next level. I have the TV show that's dropping. Then obviously I want to get into like other things. Like I want to invest in like a tequila company because everybody likes to drink, and like some other things like that. But that's neither here nor there. But really just staying creative, man. I'm really excited about the fact that I'm able to build my team and just work on these new projects. We have such huge collaborations that I'm really excited to like debut and work on. So, just working on that. And then obviously too, like as the world opens back up, getting to doing more like either COVID friendly events or like digital events or like, in-person activations. So that way I'm able to connect with our customers just on like a different level. I feel like everybody's so tired of like quarantine, and whereas we're doing the safe thing, I know we're all waiting for the day that things are over and we can kind of get back to just having fun and like just interacting with people in just different ways,
Yeah, for sure. Well, Jordan, thanks, man. Thanks for joining us and telling us your story. I appreciate the time. It's been good to chat with you.
Of course.
So any last words for the people watching?
I'd say if you're looking to start a business or regardless of what business you're in, always make sure to stay a student of the game, man. I feel like education, whether it be direct or indirect, is like the true foundation of success. And I feel like as long as you stay a student, you remember that you're always a sponge, there's always things for you to learn, and that'll really springboard you to kind of get to your goals, man. I'm always a student, man. I'm always down to learn. Everybody knows something different and everybody's better than you at something. So, just keep that in the back of your head always, man.
Yeah. Never stop learning. I love it. It. So, hey, do you guys have any questions for Jordan? Just hang out. We're going to be back. We're going to be on Discord here in a little while, and you can join us, and we'll have a session where you can ask anything. So thanks, Jordan, again for hanging out with us, and we'll be back.
Of course, man. Have a good one.
When I first started skating, people laughed at me and didn't think I was going to make it. When I started my first company, people said it's not going to work. Now, I didn't heard that so many times, but I'm still here.
Stevie built his legacy from nothing.
We represent the underdog.
Love Park, Stevie and Kalis own that place.
It was like, yo, that's my next step. I want to be an entrepreneur.
DGK and Stevie have crossed so many boundaries.
He's the GOAT.
All right, guys. Well, welcome back. We've got Carl Jones and TJ Walker, the founders of Cross Color, with us today. And we're stoked to have you guys to be a part of this. Thank you for taking the time out to talk to us today.
Hey, Ryan, thank you. We appreciate that you and Zumiez are including us in this movement. We're happy to be a part of it and support it.
Absolutely. Thank you. So how are you guys doing? How was 2020? Was a crazy year for everyone. And, Cross Colors had a lot of product that came out at the right moment, right? And so you guys had a lot going on. So how are you guys doing? How did you guys hold up? How'd the business hold up through 2020?
Amazingly enough, the business, and I think honestly, it had a lot to do with politics, protest. Our business took I would say a huge leap forward. So I wouldn't, it really, in my opinion, had nothing to do with the pandemic. It was just, people stood up for their rights because they had to, and not just Black people, but all people joined in and came together to speak their minds in terms of what it was outrageous what happened. And so, it brought everyone together to, let everyone know this is not acceptable.
Right. And I think if the pandemic did anything, in terms of contributing to that, it was making sure people were at home. They watched it. They were able to sit there, they were able to watch it and view that. So they had the world was a captive audience at that point.
Yes.
View all this.
For sure. Yeah. So that even brought more attention and more focus to that, to George Floyd and the problems we were
violence,
police brutality. And so unfortunately, due to the circumstances, it sort of catapulted our brand to a different level. And just, because TJ and I, we've basically, since we started the brand in the 90s, actually 1989 when we first started, this is what we've always promoted through a fashion, stop gang violence, love sees no colors, clothing without prejudice, let's bring people together.
Unity.
This is, our brand is from the community. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me slow down. Maybe.
No, that's great. That's great. I think I know a lot. Yeah, I think I know a lot about the brand because I come from that generation, right? Like I was a teenager in the late 80s, early 90s when you guys started the brand. So I'm connected to that, and I know that that's always been a part of your brand. But I think you should continue to kind of speak on that so that this younger audience really understands what Cross Color is about. How did you guys come to the name Cross Colors, and what inspired you guys? I mean, we kind of heard some of that, but what inspired some of the founding principles of the brand?
Well, we, coming from an apparel background, TJ being a genius artist, illustrator, I was always a marketing, sales guy, and it was just a time and inspirations like the fabric,
the Kente fabric,
Kente cloth fabric, traveling to New York, because we never, unfortunately, LA is not a city as in New York. People, the way people are on the streets, the way the streets work, and
how they travel.
Yeah, it was, LA is more of a car place where you wear your car instead of your clothing. So we spent time in New York, but the whole idea just came from, hip hop was just beginning to arrive and show up and make, a difference in music. And then the whole West Coast hip hop thing started.
Right.
So it was just a combination of things. And from our perspective, there wasn't a fashion brand that addressed the culture, addressed the movement, addressed gang violence, addressed people coming together, clothing without prejudice. We wanted to sort of bring everybody together, white, Black, Latinos. So, we wanted to express how we felt about fashion from the community. I mean, fashion hadn't really
amplified that. It hadn't done that to support, what was really going on, with us and with the community.
But it hadn't really, there was no fashion statement ever
Not like that.
from the community. But however, people dressed a certain way. They wore specific colors and, hats and footwear. And so we were those guys that, well, how do we bring this together and present it in a way where it makes sense commercially?
Mm-hmm.
And it addresses the area of Black models in fashion, which wasn't addressed at that time. I mean, there were very few Black models being used in advertising, and at that time there were magazines and billboards. There was no social media, of course.
Right.
So we wanted to address. It was just a combination of things. We wanted to address music.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to address the whole Black models. We wanted to talk about clothing without prejudice, meaning bringing all people together. It's just a vibe. It's from the culture,
Mm-hmm.
And so the first name for the brand was Cross Culture.
Mm-hmm.
That was our name. And there was a trademark issue, so it evolved from Cross Culture to Cross Colors. And that was the beginning. But I think we were always, we loved what we were doing, but before we really saw Will Smith wear it, you love it and wear it on the
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
On the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, before we got that on the airwaves, we were sort of, in a vacuum.
Right.
Yeah.
And figuring it out. And we were figuring it out a lot.
I think let's kind of shift gears here a little bit and just kind of talk about last year and the success that the brand had based off of what you guys talked about earlier with the protest. And, I was one of those people that was sitting at home like everyone else and I couldn't take my eyes off of what was happening, right? It was just such a pivotal moment in time, but also a tragic moment in time for all of us, and I think a lot of it started with Ahmaud Arbery, and then we had Breonna Taylor, and then George Floyd's murder. But you guys did a lot to be a driver of that culture, the protest, the speaking up, and you've always done that. But you've done that through your art and through the clothing. What was the reception, of the community behind, or what's been the reception from the community behind all of your product that you put out last year? Because you guys have always been about inclusivity, right? So what's been kind of the feedback that you've gotten from your customers, from the community?
The feedback has been very positive. And it has inspired us some of the difficulties in our world today and in our community today. It has inspired us and re-energized us to even show new statements, such as love Black lives. That seems to be a big group for us right now, and a big statement for us. And I think it really just brought on new inspiration and fresh ideas from a fashion perspective. It's sort of our way of protesting, but still we want to bring people together
at the same time. So
we try and come up with a more of a positive approach to bringing people together, but at the same time respect, Black lives.
Yeah, and I think too that Carl and I have always been of the mindset of unity and equality, education, stopping violence, and those kind of things, even from the 90s.
Yeah.
And so now we feel more responsibility and more it's our obligation to address these things in a louder way, basically. And I think that's really why we came up with the LBL collection too, as well, the Love Black Lives collection. So people can know that we are behind this movement. We've always been there, but we really want them to know that we really are behind it too, and we'll speak louder about it. And that's what we want to do with the brand.
That's
yeah,
great.
I mean, I love Black Lives, the whole LBL thing concept. It's our outreach and answer to Black Lives Matter. It's from our perspective and how we want to address it.
Yeah.
And we think it's important that we stay, we keep it positive at the same time, and relevant, and something that hopefully brings more people together. And even with all the negativity in politics and what's going on in the world today, there are people out there who are, from a positive perspective. What am I trying to say?
Well, trying to get the message out there.
We want to get the message out.
Yeah,
but
without being aggressive, without being too overbearing.
Yeah, and we don't. I think we want to go beyond Black Lives Matter. We want to,
and because and for me, that statement that Carl said really magnifies what we saw during the protest. We did not just see people of color on the front line, in the protest. We saw a lot of people, different nationalities, different cultures out there for BLM and for supporting the protest. So that's what we want to see in our product, and we want those individuals to appreciate our product and actually know what we're talking about too, because we support that. Yeah. We support that in total.
What advice do you have, or what do you think people can do to get involved in their own communities to kind of be a part of the protest or be a part of their communities to inspire change?
Well, I think, part of our responsibility, as you said, is because things happen, and I think they're forgotten so fast today on social media. I mean, it's on to the next thing, even though someone was murdered or died, and the wrong way, if there's a right way to die. But so our responsibility and job is to continue to carry that message forward. Okay. And to, show it from our perspective, from a fashion point of view. And as far as people in the community, what they could do, well, I mean, for sure, I think voting and, get to, I think everyone showed up to vote during the last election. I think one of the biggest things we can all do is to, don't forget what happened when you didn't go out and vote. Don't forget, because that could happen again. Yeah. And I think, we even though we're a few years away from a new election, I think we have to stay on point with get out and vote. I think we have to, continue to remind people so people don't relax.
Yeah. And I think that's just being woke and staying aware. I think the thing that we need to remember, and everyone needs to remember, is that the politics is never over, and it's constant, and it's in your neighborhood, it's in your local government, it's in your state. It's not just the national that you have to be concerned with, it's the local as well. So you always need to be conscious of that, because those local, state, and those things that pass, those are the things that affect the national. So everyone needs to still be aware of that. And I think Zumiez did a great job to help push the initiative too, as far as the voting is concerned. And those are the things that I think retailers need to do. Not just the retailers, but people in the community as well. You can do those simple things, which are very, very important to the overall picture.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
I agree.
Zumiez
I think
has done.
Done an
I
amazing
mean,
job.
you know, compared to a lot of retailers, I mean, I have to really say, you know, I like to tip my hat to Zumiez because they've been a great supporter of the brand. You know, when we first began to relaunch the brand again, I mean, Zumiez was unbelievable and supported Cross Colors in a big way. I mean, of course, it started off slow, which was fine, but we're very happy and we're very excited. We like the way Zumiez thinks, and they're always considering the youth and communities and people of color and people of all colors and background. And we see that and we feel that, and we're happy to, you know, be involved and have Zumiez as a partner.
As a partner. Yeah, we definitely see Zumiez as a partner because you've been right there with us from day one, basically, to support.
so. What's coming up for Cross Colors? What are some things you guys have for going on that we're going to be able to see in the future?
Well, you know, we're doing a lot of surface dyes that seem to be working pretty well for Cross Colors beyond tie dyes. I mean, tie dyes are really hot right now. Fleece is really important for us. The whole hookup sets and things like that, new graphics, the whole Love Black Lives or LBL, as TJ said. And it's just a very exciting time. And it's our subtle way of protesting and standing up to racism and supporting the HBCUs. That's another, you know, division of our company today. And of course, our, you know, 90s artists, the Tupacs that we license, Aaliyah, Left Eye, and we just signed up with Public Enemy and Run DMC because, you know, they were excited enough to work with us, and they feel our brand is important enough to work with. So we're very excited about those licensors.
That's awesome. And yeah,
oh, he's reminding me because there's so many things right now. We have, this is the 30th anniversary for Boys in the Hood. So we have the rights to, which we're just beginning to show to Zumiez, and they're excited about the 30th anniversary of the Boys in the Hood movie officially. That starts in July.
Yeah. And I also want to mention back to the HBCU that we're doing, because we have product that we're doing, collection for that as well. But we also have a mentorship program, you know, that we've been doing, and it is going really well. We're very excited about it. It's actually headed by one of our mentees that we had from Howard, and he actually works for us now, and he spearheads that also with our marketing as well. But our HBCU program, we're very proud of it, and we have mentees that we've even hired now. We have internally 3 people that we've hired, you know, from this program. So
that's great. That's great. Well,
when everybody gets a chance, take a look at the HBC. It's just starting. It's only 2,000 followers, but the HBCU Instagram, Cross Colors HBCU, which we actually, you know, we're doing things on campus with students, photo shoots on campus, events on campus, fashion shows, very exciting stuff.
They
follow it right now.
Yeah, they do the whole thing.
And
you know,
they create the content.
We send them the clothes. They do the whole photo shoots, Instagram, the whole thing. So
yeah, they inspire us for Cross Colors.
They're really good, really creative.
Well, that's great. Well, you guys are doing a lot of great things. It's been an honor to talk to you guys as someone, like I said, from that era, the 90s era, and to see you guys come full circle and come back, it's amazing. So TJ, Carl, thank you guys for joining us. I want to say again, you've just been a huge inspiration to me, and I know a lot of people out there. So thank you. Thanks again.
And we'd like to thank Zumiez again. Thank you so much. Thank you for involving us in this movement project. And thank you for your support.
Yes.
Always. Yeah. All right. And we'll be right back. Thanks, guys.
You got it.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. Keep standing up and getting involved in your communities. Now let's go to the Chord and connect live with Latosha from Proper Gnar and Jordan from Hypland. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
23 in my condo, finna ball like Lonzo. Go and tell everybody talking stage better be in that convo.